Well, hello there, fabulous private practice owner. My name is Gerda Muller, and I am a fellow psychologist, a fellow group private practice owner, but most importantly, I'm a business consultant and I work with amazing practice owners like yourself within allied health as part of my business called Private Practice Success Australia. And I'm super excited today to welcome a special guest here with me in the amazing Ash Davison. Ash, do you want to introduce yourself very briefly?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. My name's Ash Davison. I am the Director of Strategy and Operations at the Psych Professionals, which is the group practice that Gerda is the director and founder of. And in that role, it's kind of a fancy way to say that I look after all the operations and all the day-to-day management of the practice and organizing everything that goes on inside of the group with all of the clinicians. And my background is in working in allied health admin for the past 10 years, and that's through front desk all the way through team leadership up into the management space as well. So a broad range there too.
Needless to say, everybody, Ashley is part of the reasons why I am able to have a self-running practice. We've got Ash there on the ground running things, and of course, we've got amazing self-running systems that support all of that. So, Ashley and I have put our heads together because Ash actually helps me within Private Practice Success Academy to support the practice owners that are members in there that I work with. And a big part of what we do is to support practice owners to empower and uplift and elevate their front desk team. A lot of times I know we focus on our clinicians, they do the billable work, they are our fellow allied health professionals. And sometimes we, don't get that much time to support our admin team, but they are such an essential part of what it is that we do within our practices. They are the engine room of the business. So we have decided to put together a brilliant course for admin staff and practice owners at your allied health private practice. And what did we call it, Ashley? Drum roll.
The ultimate admin training course because it is ultimately the best thing you'll ever see in terms of having admin trained on everything that you need.
Yeah, exactly. It is the ultimate. It might not be a brand new word. I wish we were more creative, but sometimes it just needs to say on the box what's inside the box. And this is what's in this box. It is the ultimate training course. Now, we have done a admin training course previously, a long time ago. I put together the right practice management training course with the fabulous Michelle Grosvenor, who's one of my Private Practice Success Academy members. But please note that the ultimate admin course is different to right practice management. Right was very more basic related stuff. It was very short and sharp little modules, which is still amazing. But this is really that next level, hence the ultimate admin training course. So if you've got admin people at your team, at your practice, whether they're doing 1 day a week or you've got three admin people there at the same time, whether you've got a senior, junior, practice manager, this training course is going to be essential for each and every one of them. But let's dive into what it is that we're going to be covering. And we're going to head on over to my iPad, and Ash and myself are going to walk you through that. Alrighty, Ash, let's talk about this ultimate admin course. And we're going to talk through this. I'm going to be the practice owner, and you're going to tell me why this is good for me and my business. Why should I invest time, money, and energy into getting my admin team to complete this course? And I want us to really start looking at what is those three biggest challenges that we find practice owners report to us. And I mean, the two of us have been doing this for 10 years. It's interesting because even over a period of 10 years, which is a freaking decade, it doesn't really change, right?
It
It's
doesn't. No.
It's
It's always
very
the same kind of
consistent.
challenges. Yeah, it does feel that way. And it feels like we kind of hear the same struggles at every practice, even regardless of the type of practice that someone's operating. It kind of feels like in business and across allied health, those same challenges just continue to be raised. And I think that's why this is the ultimate admin training course, because it addresses some of those major challenges.
100%. So I'm going to do my best at doing a triangle. And I'm just going to now do it once. And if it's not good enough, I'm just going to keep going. There you go.
That's
Imperfect
perfect.
action.
That's it.
Imperfect action, because it doesn't matter how many times I try, it's not going to be perfect. All right. So the number one problem that practice owners report to us is what?
It's lost revenue and profit opportunities. So thinking about how our admin can actually drive revenue and profit opportunities rather than us having loss of revenue and profit opportunities, which is a continuous issue that is raised throughout the work that we do in Private Practice Success Australia and in the Academy.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So lost revenue and profit opportunities at the front desk. And instead of that, we want, therefore, what you're telling me, a front desk team that can actively drive revenue creation and therefore the profit that we will be achieving within our business.
Exactly. Yep. Problem number two, we're often looking at a team of admin that are overwhelmed and therefore underproductive in their roles. As we
Mm,
know, there are so many components to an admin role. So the overwhelm is something we come across so often, which results in a lack of productivity.
yeah. And I wonder if you're listening to this and you're a practice owner, your admin team have probably reported this to you.
Mhm.
All right, so instead of them being overwhelmed and unproductive, we want them to do what? I'm guessing we want to crush that overwhelm
We do. I want them to be empowered to be really effective and efficient parts of the team.
and then increase their productivity
Absolutely.
up. So productivity needs to go up without feeling overwhelmed because
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be one or the other. We
No,
can have both of those things.
absolutely. And that's a big focus for this course. And then the third challenge that we come across is non-compliance. So non-compliant processes, which of course then can put your business at risk and all of the clinicians within your business at risk as well.
Yeah. So much. And so instead of that, what we therefore want, the answer to that is,
We really want to operate in that best practice and compliant model,
yeah,
what we want to achieve, so that you can confidently know that your front desk is operating in a best practice and compliant way.
I love it. I so love it because I think very often as a practice owner looking at this, let's do this. I think sometimes we underestimate the revenue and profit opportunities at the front desk. And there is so many for admin. It's not just the clinicians.
Mhm.
Obviously, that overwhelm, never good, and getting your team to be productive is so
Mm.
important so people can love their work when they're coming in. And when it comes to the compliance part, the risk is just too big. Doing the wrong thing, not following, Medicare rules and regulations, NDIS rules and regulations, confidentiality, privacy. There's so many things that we need to have our minds across, and we need to keep at the forefront at all times. And this is why I say admin teams are so essential. And therefore, we really want to empower them by knowing how to do these things. Awesome. I love it. So let's dive a bit deeper and let me do another page here. And we're going to go back to our triangle. Make my triangle a little bit smaller. So in terms of the first problem, so if we go back here, we said the first thing we want to achieve is we want them to be able to drive revenue and profit. So if I'm a practice owner listening, what type of stuff, what's the first thing that we're going to cover there in order to drive revenue and profit opportunities?
Yeah, so we've got four modules within this part of driving revenue. And the first one we look at is dynamic diary management. So, a brief overview of that would be leaving absolutely nothing on the table when it comes to ensuring that your diaries are as full, as correctly billed, and as compliant as possible in the space of making sure that you've got the ceiling there of what you can achieve in any given week and that we're reaching to that as much as possible, as much of the time.
Love it. And I'm sure if somebody has been in the PPS world for some time, they have heard that term before, dynamic diary management, and there's so much that goes into that. So I'm always excited about that. It's like if you do nothing, that's the thing you need to implement.
I
Love
totally agree. And I think there's also like parts you can take away and put it through your filter at your practice as
it.
well. So the next module that we look at in driving revenue is called converting with compassion. This used to be called the sales training in allied health. Converting with compassion is really kind of what the name describes. It's really about looking at how we compassionately work with clients through the intake and like inquiry and intake process and use particular language techniques and guiding conversation from inquiry through to booking to encourage a higher rate of conversion.
Love it. And I love that we're doing that with compassion
Yeah,
because we do work in allied health. Our practice is a mental health practice. We need to be really careful in how we have those conversations, but we want to make sure that our front desk team can have it with confidence when they are doing that compassion-based sales conversations. Love.
exactly. Yeah. The next one links in pretty well with converting with compassion, and it's called golden opportunities. So it's about making every referral count. And like with the converting with compassion, we're looking at this not from an inquiry just being a number, but being a person that we need to support through the process. So looking at how we make sure we make consistent contact and each person is given the attention that they need and the opportunity to actually get booked in. So following a process, tracking the referrals, all of that sort of thing.
And then our final module here.
So, finance and commercial judgment is the final module. And like you said, Gerda, a lot of the time there's this focus on, revenue generation within the clinical team, but you can actually be leaving a lot of opportunity untapped if the admin team aren't aware of how their role impacts on the financial aspect of the practice and having that commercial judgment around, compassionately enforcing fees and making sure that we're acting in line with the best interest of the practice while considering the client needs. That's a really thin line to walk, and being able to balance on that is really, really important in being effective in driving that revenue.
So what I'm hearing is it's really like the mindset and the understanding of what that means, and then how that translates into behaviors and
Yeah.
policy, and how we adhere to all of those at the front desk.
That's right. And I think like if we looked at this from an overarching perspective, I think if you're a practice owner who's ever had an admin person come to you and challenge you on a cancellation fee being enforced, that's just one example. This helps to give the team that understanding of their impact. So it really gives them that mindset shift. I think that's an important thing to mention, Gerda. That mindset is a big part of it.
All right, so that is one, two, three, four modules within the Drive Revenue and Profit section of the course. All right, so let's head on over to this side where we wanted to solve that overwhelm and unproductive front desk team problem. What are we going to do to solve that one?
There are so many things that contribute to overwhelm. In this part, we look at a few modules that really address the challenges that kind of contribute to that overwhelm. And the first one that we look at is dealing with difficult clients. And when I was thinking of the name for this particular module, I was stuck on saying difficult clients, but I think there is always going to be difficult clients in the customer service space. And so I think it's important to acknowledge it in that way and work with the team on how they can compassionately work with these clients and look to resolve or come to an outcome that is productive for everyone. But also within this space, it then leads to us recognizing the need for self care in managing the overwhelm. So, not only in Module 6 do we have the dealing with difficult clients, but we also have a psycho ed breathing space as well.
Yeah, because we really want to make sure as a practice owner, I think like it shouldn't just be me being able to step in and do that, or even the practice manager. Even a junior receptionist should have the basic skills of how do I deal with a difficult client and how do I know when I need to escalate that potentially, but still making sure that every person at the front desk, whether that's over the phone or in person, are able to do this and have those skills. It's really so important from a workplace psychological safety perspective to ensure that this is covered.
Absolutely.
Cool.
The next module that we look at is, we called it the rules of the game. So this looks at the role and boundaries in the admin space. So your role and boundaries is really what we focus on. And this is about really clearly understanding and defining what is your role and what isn't. And that can be between admin and clinician. It can also be between the admin team and clients, which really helps to create that boundary, also create that psychological safety, especially when it again comes to dealing with potentially difficult clients or clients who are experiencing something difficult. So this is really there just to again have that mindset of, I understand exactly what my role is and what those parameters are, and I operate within those parameters.
Yeah, so important. And I think we all know when it comes to overwhelm that it's a lot of times it's a boundary issue, right?
Mhm.
We say yes to things we shouldn't, no to things we shouldn't sometimes. It's so important to know what that is. And that leads into when you said earlier on, we want an empowered front desk team. And understanding the rules of the game is so important in order to empower them. So cool.
100%.
All right. And then our last module here.
Yes, our last module is prioritization and task management. So, similar to understanding the rules of the game and the boundaries, it's also within the parameters of my role, how do I get everything done? How do I know what to prioritize and how to structure my day in a way that helps me to find a sense of achievement and therefore help to prevent that burnout, that overwhelm as well. So we look at specifically task management systems and technology that we can use for that. And we talk about how we can actually practically implement task management inside of the role of an admin person.
I think all of us can always benefit from some prioritization training, and even if it's a reminder of how that works. Alrighty, so our final problem area that we are solving, and this is a really big one, and there's a reason why it's down the bottom of the triangle, because this is really the foundation of everything we do in business and particularly at the front desk. And this, of course, we said here is to go from non-compliance, which puts your business at risk, to having a compliant and best practice model within your front desk team. So, talk to me about what we're going to be doing over here.
So, in this particular part, we're looking at understanding confidentiality and privacy in private practice. And that's where we begin in this section of the training. And this is really important to reflect on and think about within your practice, because a lot of the time we spend so much time worrying about clinical compliance, particularly around confidentiality, privacy, the legal parameters and the ethical parameters and considerations that clinicians have. And sometimes there's a gap there with the admin team. And so in this training, we really discuss not only their role and how they need to make sure that they're being compliant in the space of confidentiality and privacy, but I also talk about the parameters that are there for a clinician, because I want an admin person to understand from the practice and clinician perspective what that means and why it's so important, and then how practically they need to apply those principles to their role. And there are practical examples as well as like more theory based discussion as well in that particular module.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it. Okay, next one.
Next one is our theoretical basics. So, this training is really about just understanding what it means to work in a private practice. So, it goes to the basics of the types of people you'll come across, the types of referrals, the types of clinicians. So, it's really the basics if someone was very fresh to the practice, but it's also a really helpful refresher for people who have been there for however long to just go through this type of training again and just make sure that everything is set in stone in their mind. Next up is customer service. And I love this one because I feel like it just reminds people of the opportunities they have a positive impression on anyone they come across in their day. So it's really about, working in line with the considerations of practice reputation, supporting the clients through their experience, and just making it as positive as possible. Gerda has coined the phrase the moments of gold in the private practice setting, and I think that's where we can really discuss the opportunities to create those for clients and to really give them the best possible experience. So I'm excited about that module.
Yeah, I love that. And as a, even when I was a solo practice owner, I loved creating special moments for clients. That's the warm and fuzzy stuff that really makes you feel good and proud of your business that you have created. And that's the stuff that creates raving fans within
Mm.
your business. That's the stuff that means if a clinician leaves, that their clients choose to stay with your business because of the amazing customer service that they get from admin, the way they are made to feel welcome from the moment they walk through the door or when the phone gets answered. They know that you're the purpose of their day and they're the purpose of your job. They're not an interruption of your day. And it's so important. There's so many things that we can and should be doing in that area.
The next piece is Medicare compliance. So, specifically talking about ensuring that all of the work that you're doing is compliant within the Medicare Better Access program. So, talking about specifics and looking at how we can preempt and plan and check to make sure that we don't have non compliant processes or non compliant referrals and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, and we specifically chose Medicare because obviously, my practice, the majority of our work is Medicare, being a psychology, mental health practice. Most of the work we do is in that area, but the way that we're going to look at it and work through it, people can also transfer the way that we're going to address it to any other programs because there are multiple programs and funding streams out there. And it's also about how do we look at the compliance within a specific program.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last module is navigating risk. This is specifically talking about people or the community or clients who are contacting the practice in a state of crisis and acknowledging the limitations of admin, but what they can do to support not only the client, but the practice in a way that's compliant through that process. So we look at specific processes that we can follow through very structured templates that you can use in that sort of crisis where all memory of your training goes out the window, but you've got your template there to follow. So there's that sort of support there as well post the training.
Excellent. Okay, so well, looking at my sheet, we're going to be covering a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
right? And the one thing that's missing here is really the center of the triangle. And having listened to that, the outcome of all of these things really, in my mind, and you can add what you want, but is an empowered admin team.
Yeah.
An empowered admin team, an elevated admin team that knows how to easily, effectively, and ethically run the front desk. Geez, I've used a lot of E words in there, but it is what it is. And whether that admin team is in person or remote, all of these
Yeah.
things will apply.
Definitely. And I think that one of the things that I was really happy with when we had finished putting together this program and, coined it the ultimate admin training course was really being confident that as a result, admin are able to be a really key part of your revenue engine. As we said, they're really that engine room. They're also able to be a really key part of continuing to build and grow your reputation as a practice and in that industry and in your locality. So I think there's just so much that admin can contribute if they've got the right tools and the right training. And so I think this sort of structured approach that's really comprehensive shows an outcome that has an empowered, like you said, empowered, elevated, revenue focused admin team. So that's the bright shining outcome that we look for.
Excellent. So we've just spoken about the big picture stuff in terms of all the content here that we're going to be covering. But I like to also look into a bit more of the logistics and the details because I know practice owners are going to want to know these details. So let's have a look at what is going to be included and how we are going to be delivering all of this fabulous content. I will go through it and you just chime in when I forget something.
No
So
worries.
excellent. So we're gonna run this as a live program. This is the first time we're running it, and we'll see how we go. We might make it evergreen, we might keep on running it live, but I think live is always best, right? Because you have that opportunity to ask questions. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a Facebook group and all our participants will be joining that group. What that means is that for the duration of the course, you will have 24/7 opportunity to mastermind with everybody else that's in there, including yourself, Ash. I'll also be in there so that you can ask questions and get those answered during the 12-week period that this program is going to run for. How is it going to work? So every Monday at 9 a.m., and please note all times are Australian Eastern Standard Time. Every Monday at 9 o'clock, you will get an email into your inbox, and we will also post it in the Facebook group that will have the recorded video content. So you can therefore mark that time out in your diary and go from 9 to 10 every Monday for that time period. I'm going to watch this training. You will also have a reflection sheet that you will print out and use as you go through your training. That's going to be really important. It's going to help you really gather the necessary insights and determine the questions that you might have. The questions that you do have, you are then going to bring to the live Thursday Q&A, and that will be happening at 11 a.m. every Thursday. And the fabulous Ash will be there to answer all your questions live. Now, if for some reason you can't make it to the live session, there will be a post and a prompt in the Facebook group where if you've watched the Monday training, you can pop in your questions and we will make sure that we answer that during the Thursday session. So really, we do not want any admin team members to get to the end of the week and not have a full and comprehensive understanding of the content that was delivered to them on the Monday. Now, of course, we like to over deliver. So we're not just going to give you a recorded video training. You are also going to get a bunch of resources as is relevant to that specific content. Now, depending on which module it is, it might, well, it will definitely be your slides, but it will probably include scripts, it will include outlines and checklists. And, as we go through it and we see that there's something that we didn't think of beforehand, we'll probably chuck that in there as well. I find generally that happens when you run something for the very first time. So as you can see, there is a lot of support from a content perspective, but also from an ongoing coaching and mentoring perspective that Ashley will be providing everyone. Did I leave anything out, Ash?
I don't think so. I think it's really just important to note that all of this training we really want to consolidate into practical application. So that's why the reflection sheet includes some prep for the Q&A. But on some reflection sheets, depending on the module, there might be a, what do I need to escalate to management? What do I need to clarify with management? Because sometimes there'll be a sort of side note about make sure you're aware of what this process is at your practice. And if you're unclear, check with your management. So sometimes in the training, I will direct the attendees to look at that. And we can also workshop it in the Q&A, but it's really meant to be so that they come away every week with, okay, I've learned this thing and I feel confident with how to apply that practically. And we don't want to create more work for practice owners, but we do want to open up that dialogue between the team and yourselves so that everyone's on the same page and everyone's feeling really confident and comfortable.
And that also reminded me that I should probably just make it really, really clear that the audience for this program is your actual admin. Okay, yes, as a practice owner, you might want to attend it and you're welcome if you want to be the one to do the training and then go and teach this to your team. But we've actually written this for admin team members. So whether that is your reception, up to your practice manager, because everything I do, I am about empowering, the practice owner. This course is about empowering your team, but that empowers the practice owner. I want you to do less, not more. So between Ash and myself, we've put this together so that you don't have to do it. So if you've got a group practice, I would recommend that you send your team, your admin person or your practice manager to come and do it. They're going to come back and I would tell them integrate this with what we're already doing and come and make a proposal to me as the owner in terms of what are we already doing well and we need to go, well done us, but what is the gaps in our processes, in our compliance, in our customer service, in our knowledge? Are we actually making use of every opportunity as a front desk team to do revenue generation, to contribute to the profit? We want to plug any and all financial leaks within the business. It's
And as
not
a side note, any time leak is also a financial leak. So let's just acknowledge that right now.
That's why that task management is so important. And I find practice owners always go, oh, clinicians need to build. But we again are leaving revenue on the table by not empowering the admin team. So the audience is your actual admin team. So make this the training that they do this year. You are going to thank yourself for saying yes to that. Also, just for quick clarity, there's a total of 12 modules, which means that it's going to be a 12-week program. And we kick off. This is a very important date. What did we say? What's that date,
The
Ash?
1st of September, we kick off. The group opens the week before, but we'll be promptly starting on the Monday, the 1st.
Yes, the 1st of September. So that is September, October, mid-November, more or less, we're gonna be finished, which is actually a really great time of the year because that means that your admin team are gonna be able to go into a new calendar year so freaking empowered and switched on. In terms of numbers, we are going to cap the numbers. We haven't made a final decision, but because this is live, because we're going to be in a Facebook group answering questions, because Ash is going to be there running a live Q&A session, we want to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to participate fully, that nobody leaves not having their questions answered. So we are going to have to cap it. So if this is of interest, I recommend that you get your ticket ASAP. The way to do that is a bit old school in that you're going to have to email me because we do want to cap the numbers. And by making it a tad bit manual, it allows us to do that. So please email me at GerdaM at private-practice-success.com and I will send you a document with all of the details outlined. So if you really want it all written down, it's going to be a written document with all of the details, including a link for how you can secure your spot. Anything that I've left out, Ashley?
The only thing I can think of is that while we do have an allocated time for our recording to be released each week, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best time for your admin to view the recording, take their notes, and be in a space where they can really absorb that. And so, while that might be the case, it's still really important to actually block out the time. This is part of that prioritization and task management. and it's static time for 12 weeks where they have time to properly sit down and do the coursework. And that's going to be how you make sure they get the best possible outcome, and that they come to the Q&A with having seen the content and having the questions that I can then support them with. So we want people to be able to get as much out of this as possible. And while everyone's schedules look different and every practice has different days that are busy, as long as something has been blocked out, that is the key to success.
As they say, what gets scheduled gets done. So we have to make the time to get
Mhm.
it. Beautiful. Love it. I don't know about you, but I'm freaking excited to see how this all turns out and to just hear the outcomes that people are going to be reporting back to us at the end of this 12-week period. So thank you so much for joining me here and talking us through all of this, Ash. Yeah, thank you so much for everybody here that is listening to this recording. Also, if you've got any additional questions that we haven't answered, use the same email address, reach out, and we can answer that for you. But otherwise, until next time, it is goodbye from us. And remember that both myself and the lovely Ash is here to help you build a practice you can't stop smiling about. Bye for now.